Everyone in this class lives in Florida, and we all know that Florida is a beautiful place, mainly because of the beaches, the dunes, the water. It's all so beautiful. But do we really know why there's signs that tell us not to go on the dunes? As Floridians that love the beach and love the animals here, the atmosphere, the aesthetic it provides, I want to share my feelings to all of you on why it's really important to stay off the dunes. I've been living here for 8 years now, and I've come to notice pretty much one thing about the beach, and it's that people do really whatever they want. And the only thing that I hate seeing more than people not having fun is people walking on our precious dunes. Makes me so sad, and ever since I moved here, I was a voice telling people to stop walking on the dunes and read the signs. Over the next few minutes, I'll be touching on the points on why it's important to not walk all over our dunes. 1, the dunes are protection for human life, or, well, human property, most of all, when we do evacuate during hurricanes. They are a place for vegetation to grow and live and prosper where they couldn't anywhere else. And they're a habitat for the little cute animals that we see on the beach and are glad that they're there because it gives Florida the aesthetic that we all know to love. Let's kick it off with the human life protection that is provided by these dunes. Not just human life, but property and buildings and the way that we live. During hurricanes, Florida homes and buildings are exposed to terribly high winds and nasty weather, but most dangerous of all would probably be the flooding. Coming from the government website, floridaep.gov, a PDF file on the website explains how if sand dunes are damaged or destroyed, then Florida homes and coastal resources are more likely to be destroyed or damaged by weather. This means that if we walk all over the dunes and deteriorate them before the storm ever gets there, once the storm does, everything behind the dunes is just going to crumble. This is not good. And that's why it's important to stay off the dunes. Also, according to Chris Farrell, the author of Hurricane Matthew assessment, beach dunes are better than seawalls on floridaauburn.org. On sand dunes in Jacksonville, Florida is protected more by the sand dunes than seawalls. A prime example in this website article would be Jacksonville. During Florida Hurricane Matthew, they had nice beach dunes, which protected them more than the seawalls during the 1964 Hurricane Dora. This is amazing to see that natural resources protect us better than man-made. But these dunes aren't just a defense mechanism for us. They're an essential part of the vegetation that makes Florida so beautiful. The sand dunes provide a place of vegetation native to Florida to grow and prosper. As I continued reading the PDF on floridaep.gov, I found that they also point out that the specific harsh environment that these plants are used to and that need to live are really only found in the sand dunes. Crazy, right? But also, according to FWS.gov, with the high energy zone, there are a number of daily naturally occurring events, wave action, sand burial, and salt spray that attribute to the growth and prosperity of this vegetation that can only really be found on the beach dunes. Not to mention that This vegetation can be easily disturbed. By one step, you can crush a whole ecosystem, mini ecosystem of vegetation that is just trying to live. Please, please, remember it's important to stay off the dunes. Plants are one half of the concern, but the other half is the animals. Within the dunes, there are a lot of these animals. These sand dunes provide natural homes for the wondrous animals that live in Florida. Another piece of evidence that best exemplifies the wondrous wildlife that live here in Florida, used from source floridaep.gov, again, the same PDF that is stated. Some animals which depend on sand dunes include burrow-dwelling mice, coach-whip snakes, ghost crabs, you know, the cute little white crabs that we see, and nesting sea turtles. The poor little sea turtles that climb out of the nests to try to make it out in this life. Without the dunes, these poor animals would not have a home. And yet again, mankind would destroy more and more species. Avoiding walks on the dunes is one of our important duties as Floridians. Let's go back over why. The dunes protect us against floods. They give a home for vegetation, and they give a home for wildlife. The dunes give animals a place to live, and they're just great all in general. The history of mankind is destruction and selfishness, but we could change that. And we should start locally by just not walking on the dunes.